Hello, my amazing second grade and multi-age artists. This week we are going to be designing and starting to create some of our very own robots. We're going to be looking at some different geometric shapes. Remember, geometric means that these shapes have names and are normally man or machine made. And we are going to be cutting up some different colors of paper while we make our shapes to help create our very own different and unique robots. My robot, for instance, ended up being a cat bot. Meow. So let's go take a look at what art materials we need to start making our very own shape robots today, friends. I need to go ahead out of my art folder. There are some colorful squares as well as a white square and some gray paper as well. We need all of that today. Now, as you've noticed, I also have my whiteboard here with me too, because sometimes we need to plan out our projects, artists. And one way to plan it is to sketch it on a whiteboard or a scrap piece of paper. So that's why I have my whiteboard here today, because it's always a good idea to try and plan things out. Now, some of the shapes that you might want to use today, I also put on this whiteboard here. I went ahead and drew a few of our different geometric shapes. Remember, geometric shapes always have a name, like circle, hexagon, even pentagon and square. So take a look at some of these different shapes. If you need to draw them as well, maybe on the back side of your paper to help you remember some of them, please pause the video here and go ahead and draw some of those out. Now, our goal today, my friends, is to start just making our robot's body. And we want to think about the different parts of our body and how they're going to fit on our paper. So we might want to start with our head first, and then a body, maybe even think about arms, legs, and then going all the way down to hands and feet even. Now, in my example, I got really, really detailed, my friends. I even added things like shoulders and even kind of our different joints on the body, so that way my catbot could really move. Now, you don't have to add as much detail as I did, my friends, but you do have to make sure that your robot has at least 5 different geometric shapes on its body. So I like to start with the body itself first. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull those shapes back over here. Now the best way to start, my friends, is to start with maybe one of the more complicated shapes as the body itself. Think about one that you normally might not pick. For example, maybe like a hexagon or a pentagon. I think today I might do an oval for my body and just see how that looks first. Again, because we're sketching it out first, we can make changes, right? So maybe I'll start with an oval. Now I'll think about the head. I always like to add a neck in the middle. Maybe for my head today, I'll do a triangle head. So I already have 2 shapes. 3 more to go. All right, thinking about those arms and legs. I think my legs will just be maybe some more rectangles again today. So there's my 3rd shape. And then maybe the feet could be semicircles. So I'm up to 4 already. Maybe I could put some circles up at the shoulders to help connect the arms of my robot. Maybe some more rectangles. So I'm already up to 5 shapes right now, my friends. And then maybe for the hands, I could do that kind of crescent that I did for my cat as well. Just to kind of make it look like my robot could maybe grab things. Now, another fun way to add an extra shape is to add something like ears on your robot. So if you are maybe missing a shape, my friends, you could add something there, like you could, if you don't have a circle, you could add circle ears and make it look kind of like a mouse. You could add triangle ears to make it look like a cat, whatever you would like to do. Or again, if you already have at least 5 shapes, you could leave it as is. Now again, this is just a sketch, my friends. You can try sketching out different shapes as many times as you'd like before you actually start drawing and cutting them on your paper. So I'm going to actually do a little bit of finessing with my robot really quickly. I'm going to speed this part up. And then I'm going to go ahead and start also drawing those different shapes on my different colors, cutting them up, and then I will slow back down when I'm ready to start gluing my robot together on our gray paper, my friends, okay? So as always, if you need to pause here and really sketch out your ideas, please do that right now, my friends. All right, friends, so I went ahead, I decided on my robot. I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 different shapes. And I went ahead and I started planning out what colors I wanted the different parts. So for example, the body of my robot's going to be yellow, so I drew my oval there. And I drew the head on the red for a semicircle. I think I'm going to have my triangles and circles be orange. I drew lots of long rectangles on my blue. I know that's kind of hard to see, but those are going to be the arms and the parts of the legs. And then I went for also rectangles as feet and the crescent hands. I'm going to do those green. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut all these out, but I wanted to tell you, friends, always make sure that you draw your shapes larger than you think you need to. For example, my body, that's the biggest part of my robot. It should fill up almost that whole part of that paper, right? Don't draw things too small, because if you draw them small, you'll cut them small, and you can't cut bigger, right? I can always cut this shape out big and then make it smaller as I go. So I'm going to cut these out and I'm going to lay them on my gray paper, and then we'll take a look if I need to do any extra cutting or change anything up. And I still, of course, have a couple extra pieces of paper here, like I have purple and I have white still that I could use, and I haven't used those yet. So always keep a couple extra too. All right, time for some cutting, my friends. So if you look at mine right now, and I've laid mine all out, I haven't done any gluing yet because I want to make sure that everything will fit first. Now, even if I do kind of smush all my shapes up a little bit, I'm noticing that a few of my pieces might be a little bit too big. For example, these legs down here, there's no way they're going to quite fit. Now, there's two things that I can do. One, I could make my robot's body just a little bit shorter, or I could also make the legs shorter. And I could even do a little bit of both as well. So I think I will start by making my oval a little bit smaller. Because like I said, friends, you can always make your shapes smaller. You can't make them bigger. So try to start out larger first, then we can always work a little bit smaller. And I think I'll take these and I'll make those a bit shorter. And again, I'm not gluing anything yet because I just want to lay everything out and see where I might need to make some changes first. All right, now if I look, my robot will fit. I think my arms are a little bit too long now though, so I'll give those a small little trim as well, just to make them kind of match my feet a little bit better. And I also think, maybe my robot's head might be a little bit too large now that I made the whole body a little bit smaller. So I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller as well. Now, once I've laid everything out, if I'm happy with how my shapes look, then I can start gluing, friends. And I might change things, like I might make some of my legs bend a little bit more. And I might also make some of my pieces go under others while I'm gluing. Remember, you can always lift edges up if you don't glue all the way to the edge and tuck things under while you're working, okay? So one last time, I'm going to speed this process up. That way you can see how my new robot will look when it's finished this week, my friends. Next week, we're going to add more details to it. Today, we're just focusing on starting the body. So here I go one last time. And this is where we are going to stop for this week. If you get to this point, you're going to stop. We're going to add all of our extra details next week when I talk to you more about designing your robots. Now, if you don't get quite this far, that's okay as well. You can always finish adding a few things next week, friends. And remember, every robot is different. Just because my robot has 2 arms and 2 legs doesn't mean your robot has to have those. You can also make robots that maybe have no arms or only 1 leg. Maybe they have 1 really large foot. So it's all up to you. Just remember, your goal is that you have to use at least 5 different geometric shapes or more. Now, before we go, friends, these extra pieces that you have and any large scraps, I want you to put those back in your art folder for next week, okay? Any small scraps or pieces that are kind of weird shapes, those ones you can throw away. But just in case, if there's some oopses or you want to add more details next week, please keep these pieces in your art folder. And don't forget to let your robot dry before you put it away today, my friends. So I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye, and as always, have fun creating